And we are so glad that you're with us from the shadow of the Freedom Tower and the building just north of the Trinity Complex, just north of the historic Trinity Cemetery. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us for another edition of AFA Today here on AFR Talk and, of course, on the AFA channel online. We've got a special treat this hour. Nearly had a heart attack because I got some confusing directions about it. But we have a special treat for you this hour that is going to work out just A-OK, and I'm excited about it because you may have heard about the new film Mother's Night Out or Mom's Night Out that is taking place this weekend. This is Mother's Day weekend. I hope you're planning on doing something important for the mom in your household. You should, if you know what's best for you. I'm just saying. I'm not threatening. I'm just saying, if you know what's good for you, you will have something special planned for them. But this new quirky, funny, offbeat comedy about moms, I had the chance to go see a media screening of it 2 nights ago, and Sarah Drew and Sean Astin are going to be with me in conversation on this broadcast. So I hope that you will stay tuned for that because it's going to be, I think it's going to be a delightful conversation. We're going to talk about the film, but we're also going to talk about their own views of moms and what they have experienced in their life and where they're at in their own journeys of faith, the criteria by how they make a movie. This isn't an endorsement of them as actors or anything else. It's just a real honest, behind-the-scenes look at the 2 stars of this film. And I want to talk about the film a little bit because, look, you need to understand, due to some of the nature of it, this is not fair for really, really young kids. But it is a very, very well done faith-based film. That just, you think it's going to be a comedy, you think it's going to be something that just makes you laugh the whole time, and I got sucker punched with a whole bunch of emotion towards the end of it. And those of you that go see it, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But I'm just really pleased with the level of films. A lot of people had hands in this. You know, the Kendrick brothers from the Courageous films, they had some influence on this film. You've got people like Patricia Heaton who have tried to be faithful Christians in the Hollywood community for a long time. And then you've got this really sweet story about a mom and Mother's Day and what difference it all makes. So we're going to talk about that coming up yet on today's broadcast. I hope you'll stay with us for that. I do want to catch you up on some of the headlines, though, before we do this. We have seen yet another example of some people in the media that are paying the price for simply believing what has up until very recent days been traditional views of marriage and sexuality and the expression of all that. I don't know if you know anything about the television show that was reported, a couple of brothers named Benham. One of them is David, and I don't know the name. Jason is the other one. But they were to launch a new series on HGTV called Flip It Forward. This is, I think, a series about real estate and how to make money doing real estate, et cetera, et cetera. Turns out one of them had been associated with some pro-marriage groups in the past, and at the Democratic convention last go-around had spoken at a couple of things and had made some statements. One of them, let's see if I can find the exact quote here. When he was on another Christian talk show, and he said homosexuality and its agenda is attacking the nation. And he also said, and this was in 2012. This talk show was broadcasting outside the DNC. This particular talk show host asked him about some of these things, and so these were responses to some questions that he was asked. Another thing he said is demonic ideologies are taking our universities and our public school systems. It appears as though, for those 2 statements, and the fact that he had led some protests outside of some abortion clinics, HGTV, Home and Garden Television, has decided to cancel their plans to go forward with doing this as a reality show with he and his brother. And they had slated it to kind of be this. After a decade of flipping houses for profit, brothers David and Jason now help families buy the homes they never thought they could afford. In each episode, the guys help a deserving family find a fixer-upper and transform it into their forever home. A healthy dose of sibling rivalry between the brothers along the way. This is the basis, the crux of the show that they were going to do. Now, it's just really interesting to me that the mafia is as belligerent and persistent and diligent as they are, because these guys, they haven't even put them on TV yet. They haven't even shown what their show's going to be about. But it's not going to be about political action or political ideologies or anything else. But HGTV, and I guess if they had and the show was successful, they might feel differently about it, because we all know what happened with Duck Dynasty. We all see that the Duggars feel exactly the same way as what these two brothers think. They believe that Scripture is very narrow in its permissive use of sex, and you don't see. You don't see whatever channel they're on running down the road to chop them off anytime soon. Why? Because it's a moneymaker. That television show has an audience that is strongly supportive of the values that the 19 Kids and Counting Duggar family television show puts out there, and they're far more conservative than the average church family in America. The Duggars have far more conservative views than the average evangelical household. So the idea of seeing these brothers who want to flip houses and help families get a nice home, get a fixer-upper and then show them how to fix it up for them, I think it's a great concept for a show. But the unwillingness for 1 ounce of tolerance to be exhibited, 1 ounce of departure from the worldview of those that are seemingly in charge, because, by the way, HGTV also announced it had just greenlit a design competition show from Ellen DeGeneres. You can't tell me that there's not some just flat-out prejudice going on here. And, I said this, it's interesting because I put on the Facebook page yesterday a story about the university systems in California. The University of California, what city is this in? Hold on. Oh, UC Santa Barbara. So the University of Santa Barbara had a professor that walked into a class, first day of class this spring, and said to her classroom, I guess it was a man, said to the classroom, any Ted Cruz supporting teabaggers in here, get the blank out of my classroom before I send you home to your mama in a body bag. Now, that professor is still employed by the taxpayers of California at UC Santa Barbara. Any Ted Cruz supporting Tea Party guys, get the blank out of my classroom before I send you home to your mama in a body bag. That's not intolerant? The study is a Black Studies course. So I point out on Facebook that taxpayers of California are paying for this. And my friend Janet, who gets some sort of perverse pleasure out of just poking at my eyeballs all day long, said, what's the difference if a Christian college throws out a student with negative behavior to Christian beliefs? Earth to Janet and anybody else that may share that opinion. I don't know of a Christian professor that could walk into his classroom and say anything of the ilk. Hey, all you Nancy Pelosi condoning whatever, get out of here before I send you home to your mommy or your daddy in a body bag. First of all, I don't know of any Christian professor in any Christian college in all the world that would say such a thing. Secondly, if they did, I don't know of a school that would continue to employ such a professor. So to say that the narrowness of what the gospel of Jesus Christ is comparable to condoning public behavior that threatens the lives of students and forces conformity on public opinion about public policy is a laughable comparison. But this is how the left thinks. There's a lot of not really paying attention to how the dots connect, just saying one thing in response to something else and pretending as though you've proven some sort of point. But my point being, getting back to the Home and Garden Television Network, you have Ellen DeGeneres, who's developing a show for the network, some design competition show. They can be tolerant of that. Someone who disagrees with homosexual behavior cannot be allowed to be on the network. The very people that preach tolerance in our culture currently are the least tolerant people out there. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but the ones that clang the pots, they're the ones that are the least willing to allow someone to disagree with them. And it's just another example of this, as these brothers have now lost their development deal with the HGTV. What I think is a very kind of values affirming TV broadcast. They're helping families who don't have homes that they would like to live in be able to find them, fixer-uppers, fix them up, show them the values of what it is to put some elbow grease into something and to own it. I think that's a fantastic concept for a show. I think it would have been popular. And I think if these brothers are compassionate and they care about the families that they're helping and so forth, I would be willing to wager that it would have a very good chance of being extremely popular and quite well funded via advertising. But we can't allow anybody to march to a different drum than what the left says must be radical adherence to approval of all forms of sexual behavior. And if you don't approve of certain types of sexual behavior, you are now an anathema to society. If you disapprove of men having sex with men as a personal conviction, if you believe that behavior is immoral, one man having sex with another man, if you believe that is immoral, you are now the aberration in our culture. You are now the problem. You are now the one that must be, quote, helped. You're the one that needs to be re-educated. You're the one that has to be, in some way, enlightened. Pretty stunning stuff. All right, that's just some of what's going on in the news today. We may have time for more news when we continue, but I want us to enjoy the next couple of segments because we have got special guests, Sean Astin and Sarah Drew from the movie Mom's Night Out. Not a film that's particularly appropriate for young children, but a very well-done, faith-encouraging, faith-based film, and we'll get their perspective on being the stars of it when we continue. This is AFA Today on AFR Talk. I'm Calvin McCullough. Stay with us.